Hey everybody, welcome to Turn Two. I'm Scott Kornberg with my really good friend Troy Johnston. First off, do want to say a slight apology for the little delay that we had. Turns out it's pretty hard to schedule a podcast when you're in the major leagues or when you yourself are traveling in the minor leagues. So just want to say apologies for a little bit of a delay on that. But this is the episode I've always wanted to do. Troy Johnston, major leaguer. You were in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready for the Marlins series with the Braves. Congratulations. I am so happy for you. You're a week into this thing now. What is the feeling like for you?
I've had a lot of different interviews and different questions being asked over the last week, but of course, this one is going to be my favorite because I feel like I get to speak from the heart more than anything else. Um, it's meant more to my family, to the people around me, to the people that supported me than they could ever imagine. It's been an unbelievable experience just because of the fact of how much support been given, how many congratulations, people coming that I haven't heard from years that I've always thought about, I've always thought highly of that reach out to me to say thank you. Um, it has meant so much just to me and my family to just have those fantastic people around us that, again, supported us all the way through when we were struggling, when we were grinding it out in the minors, when I was in college, little league, high school, whenever it was, to help me get to this point. It's a very satisfying feeling. Uh, it's something, of course, every kid dreams of that's ever picked up a baseball bat, picked up a ball, to especially get that first hit in the first at bat. You can tell I was a little excited, but it was a one of a kind experience and one of a kind feeling.
You talked about your family, and just because we would talk, obviously not on the pod last year. I know the last few years are hard because you're the Marlins minor league player of the year, and you keep putting up numbers and putting up numbers and putting up numbers, and it's like, well, when is this chance going to come? And anybody can relate to that in the minor leagues, whatever position you are in, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether you're a broadcaster, whether you're the media person or the promo person. Sometimes it feels like whatever you do is not enough. So for you, when you find out you're going to the major leagues, is that like a relief almost? It's like, well, finally, I get my shot. I just feel like some of the personal conversations we have, I know it's been difficult for you, and I just hope that this feels like, even for what is it, a week and a half now in the show, does that make it all worth it for you?
I would say that that is the feeling that, all the struggle, all the hard work, all the late nights, the early mornings, the grinding in the off season with my off season jobs to just be
Mhm.
able to have an opportunity was worth it. And it is very satisfying just to have that feeling to say, I am a major leaguer, I am a big leaguer, but um, it's a testament just to not giving up. I know we've talked about it on the podcast. I've talked about it personally. I didn't think I was going to play baseball this year. I thought last year was my last year. I was like, I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to try it. Thankfully, my wife talked me out of that. I think we're both very happy that we had that conversation, especially looking back at it now. But trying to go through all of that, and yes, it's been a struggle. I'm not the only story of somebody that has put up numbers and hasn't got an opportunity until now. Maybe somebody that never got an opportunity.
Mm.
I'm not the first. I won't be the last. It's just part of the game. But honestly, I'm happy to be here and happy to help the team win in whatever facet they need me to do.
I know people have asked you this question, so I apologize, but I feel like we need it on the pod as well. How do you find out that you're going to the major leagues?
So I saw the Nick Fortes trade. I thought, okay, that's an interesting trade. I knew he was going to get traded. I didn't know when or where and kind of what how it worked. But saw that, got a message from somebody saying, "Hey, saw this trade, hoping it's you." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." It's I don't think it's going to be me. It's I've had hopes for in trade deadline for 3 years. It's not going to be me. It's fine. And this was on Monday. This was probably 3 or 4 hours beforehand. And then I get a call from Marjama and our hitting coach, and he pretty much just asked me, he's like, "What are you doing?" And it is 9:30 at night on a Monday, on an off day. So when you're getting called on an off day at night at 9:30, you're already thinking, you're like, this is one of two things. It's either really good or really bad. There's no, hey, just how you doing? Just wanted to call. And so he was beating around the bush. He did a really good job of kind of diverting and slow playing it as much as he could. And he brought Carp over. Carp was there in the clubhouse as well, and said Carp got on the phone and he just said, how you doing? How's the family? How was the trip? Just like good. And he was just kind of smiling and waiting. And I told him, I said, Carp, if this is a call I've been waiting on, you need to tell me right now because I can't wait any longer. And he just said, congratulations, you're a major leaguer. And, I broke down in tears. Of course, my wife and breaking down in tears. And of course, the 3-month-old was crying, but she didn't know why she was crying. But we were all very excited, and it was very stressful to be able to pack up and try to figure out what our plan was for the next 3 weeks in about 4 hours. But to kind of background that story a little bit too, if you remember, we were in Durham playing at 5 o'clock.
Hmm.
So kind of how my day worked was since my wife and I drove up to Durham to stay, hung out for the week. Um, we ended up driving after the game. So we drove from about 8:30 at night, got in about 4 a.m. to Jacksonville. Woke up maybe about 10. I took the dog out about 6. So I'm running on about 5 hours of sleep. I thought my Monday was going to be like, I'm relaxing. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to get a full night's sleep. So we enjoyed ourselves. We got a little bit of groceries. We made a big dinner. We made spicy rigatoni, which of course people were going crazy over, which I thought was hilarious. But we made spicy rigatoni with some garlic bread and um, a little salad. And right when it got done is when I got the call. So not only did I have 5 hours of sleep the night before, I had a early morning flight up at 6 a.m. the next day. And then I think up early the next day to see my family. And so it has just been an absolute whirlwind of about a week. And I'm still almost just trying to like settle in best I can.
You know what? I've heard the other side of the story, so it's really funny. First off, they match up. What you have said just now is exactly what David Carpenter told me. And I even knew about the cooking. They said you were making some sort of Italian food. So I guess Marjama was texting you and you hadn't replied for a long time. So they were like, well,
Yes.
how are we going to do this here? And I think Carp was telling me that he wanted to tell you like right away. And Marjama was like, no, 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 we can't do that. We've got to figure out a better way of doing that. So that's on their side. Um, I was going to ask if the dinner was done yet, or in the excitement, did you burn it or something like that? But it sounds like it was done. So a nice celebration. The really cool part of this, I will tell you, is that David, when he heard he got the news, he gets a text from whoever it is with the Marlins, and it tells him the roster moves, and you're the roster move. And he said he was in his office. Marjama was in his office, which in the Jacksonville clubhouse is just like 4 steps apart down the hall. And the really neat thing is he said they both teared up. Like that's how much that meant to them that you finally got that. So it wasn't just you guys feeling that emotion, it was them as well. And it's really cool to hear your side match up with theirs. Like it's neat because they were like, all right, we got to get our emotions down. We got to be able to tell him the news because he's got to get up to or down to Miami or St. Louis it was. And that's really cool. I think those guys, hopefully, I'm sure they told you how much you mean to them, but when I heard that from their perspective, I thought that was super neat.
Yeah, they're an unbelievable group of people you guys have in Jacksonville. And, I was just blessed to be a part of that. And, even just be able to experience for, 3/4 of the season. Um, to
So let me
update
ask.
you, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
To update you on the spicy rigatoni, it did all go to waste. We did not eat that night.
You didn't eat it? There was no
No, I
celebratory
took
like
like 3 bites. I was freaking out. I took like 3 bites. I was like, I don't even know how to pack an apartment in 3 hours, so I'm just gonna come back for it
with a baby.
with a
Like
baby.
that
That wouldn't stop.
that
Yeah, that would not go to sleep.
she was excited. Her dad's going to the major leagues.
Apparently, yes. Big league baby.
The That's funny about the rigatoni. So Haley obviously hears the call. Did you have a cool way of telling your brother and your parents and other people who are really tight with you?
Yeah, so of course, I don't beat around the bush as much as I, as you know, maybe I do in person, but on the phone, I knew my dad and my mom were having kind of a tough time with a death in our
Mhm.
family, and they were actually in Denver, Colorado at the time, and I called them, and they just go, "Hey, we're kind of busy. What's up? What can I do? Or what can I do for you?" And of course, they pick up every call I have, and I just said, "Hey, this is the call. Like, I'm going to the big leagues." And my dad cries, my mom cries. We just, like I said, it just this call up was fantastic, and it was, a dream come true. But it just meant, I feel like it meant more. It was sweeter. The weight made it sweeter, made it more memorable, made it mean more to me and my family. And being able to tell them, even telling my brother was, he's very nonchalant. He just was like, "Oh, cool. Can I come down?" I was like, "Sure." I was like, "Sure, sounds good. Yeah, no problem." But to see the emotion, because of course I FaceTime my parents, and so to see the emotion in
Mhm.
their faces, and even seeing my dad on the very first day that we were taking BP, we got him tickets onto the field, and he was just shaking me. He was like, "I can't believe you're here. Like, this is so cool. Like you finally did it. Like, it was all worth it." Is really what it was. It was all worth it.
I remember last year for mine, the one of my really good friends in this, who's now the New York Knicks radio guy, Tyler Murray, awesome broadcaster, and he had made his major league debut probably like a month before me with the Red Sox because he was in Worcester. And I remember him texting me, like, doesn't this make everything you've dealt with in the minor leagues? Because this job is not easy. We talked about it, with a little bit earlier, in that it doesn't seem to matter sometimes what you're doing. You just might never get that call, and it has nothing to do with how good or how bad you are. And there's other parts of this job that are hard, right? Like I'm not just the broadcaster. You're doing all these other things.
Mhm.
And I remember him saying, like, doesn't this make it all worth it to tell your family, to tell your wife? Absolutely. Like that was the best part, like almost better than the day itself. You're in St. Louis though, which is an amazing baseball city, arguably the number one baseball city in America. So you're out there. I did find it funny your brother wore a Seattle Mariners jersey to the game, which our good buddy Kyle Steelov called out on the Marlins
Yeah.
TV broadcast.
Yep.
So hopefully he's got a 75 Johnston jersey by now. But St. Louis, like, what was that like? You weren't at home, so you fly out. I remember we were texting. You were in the airport in Atlanta, I think, and on your way there. But that's like a place where the fans pay attention. They know the game so well. There's an amazing history. The ballpark is really cool. What was that like to debut there? Maybe I know it wasn't Seattle, no, it wasn't Miami, but of all the road cities you could have been, it's probably like a top five one.
Yeah. Well, the best part about it was, of course, we played the Memphis Redbirds for 4 years now, and I've come up with about every player that's on their team, so it was very comfortable. And I said hi to everybody at first base. It was very comfortable. It was very fun. But probably the coolest part was that the fans actually cheered for me when they announced making his MLB debut, Troy Johnston, and they cheered louder than, when maybe one of their Mason Wynn came up or something like that. And then when I got my first hit, they even erupted in cheers and were like, "Hey, congratulations!" And I had fans in the front saying, "Hey, congratulations! Like, you're awesome! Like, making it." And so that just, it meant more. It meant more that they understood what it was about and what was happening. So I mean, you never know what you see at a ballpark every day. It's everything's different every day. You never know.
All right, let's break this down a little bit. We've talked a lot about the minor league lifestyle with yourself and with a lot of people who have been really gracious with their time to come on here over the last couple of years. But I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on what is different you feel as a player, maybe in the clubhouse, in the dugout, on the field, versus even off the field. Like, what is that like versus what you were used to your whole career up until this point? What are some things that maybe come to mind for you on that?
I do think the biggest thing, and again, this is something that I found as a player. I do not understand. I do understand that this might be different in other organizations and it might be different in different places, but I think baseball, at least professional baseball, is pretty universal. When you get to the minor leagues, it's great. You want to win. Like, of course, every team wants to win. When you're winning, usually good things are happening. But ultimately, you yourself as an individual want to do better than everybody else. You want to have an, you want to be the best player on every team that you play on. You want to have the best stats. You want to have the best day, whatever it is. But when you come up to the big leagues, I've noticed that yes, of course, you want to have success. You want to help the team win. But if the team wins and you're not playing, or the team wins and you have a bad day, the team won. Like that is your only goal up here, is to have the team win.
Hmm.
When you win, good things happen. When you lose, bad things happen. And that's, maybe not that way in AAA sometimes. You could be a losing team and you could have the same team all year. But realistically, in the big leagues, like if you're winning, like that's the only goal. The only goal up here is to win. Whether you got to put down a bunt in the ninth inning, whether you have to try to hit a runner over after a leadoff double, whether you're making a diving play down the line to save 2 runs, like it's just, it means more. And I think I learned that too in the Dominican. I think that was the best, like I said, the best thing that could have happened to me was going to play down in the Dominican to teach me how to win baseball games again, not just play for myself. And so coming into play for the Marlins, it's, I'm happy when the team wins. And, whether I go 4 for 4 or 0 for 4, I'm wanting the team to win.
So when you get into the clubhouse for the first time, kind of on that note, right there, the expectations are it's not about development. I mean, I guess it is about development still, but it now is really about, as you said, the W at the end of the night, if you can get it. Um, I guess it seems like, and we were talking before we went on the air, like you have a pretty clearly defined goal. So are you okay? Hey, welcome to the Miami Marlins. I'm Clayton McCullough, who obviously you'd met at spring training, but like, great to have you, Troy. This is how we're going to use you. Is it that explicit, or do you just kind of figure it out as you go? Like, what's the interaction like with the coaching staff?
No, my role was very explicit. It was very similar to what you see on the field. You read between the lines, you know exactly what my job is. That's why I was brought up. There's a lot of different positions I play. Of course, I play all 3 outfield positions in first base. But I all I want to do is do my job, and try to help the team win in any, like I said, in any facet I can. But yes, my role was very explicitly said, and you know, if that's my role that keeps me here, that's my role that keeps me here.
Yeah. All right. Also, when you get into the clubhouse, you see all these guys you know from Jacksonville or from spring training if they haven't come through the minor leagues. The image that is burned into my brain, and like in a really, like I'm telling you, when we found out the news, it was so great in Jacksonville. But the Marlins posted this picture, and it seems like you're getting into the clubhouse for the first time, and the one guy who steps in to give you a big hug is Josh Simpson, and we've had him on the
Joshy,
show.
yes,
He has texted us from the major leagues earlier this year, where he was telling us how much he enjoyed listening to our podcast, which thank you, Josh. I didn't know you did that. Like, that's how cool of a guy he is. And to what really struck me about that was one, it's just his personality, right? He is such a great guy. But two, you two guys were here for a long, long time. And neither of you were heralded. Josh was a 32nd round pick. He was picked in a round that no longer exists. He's picked from a school that in the 30s and the 40s was like a baseball powerhouse, but is not anymore. At Columbia, it's a obviously amazing school. And you're similar, right? Gonzaga, and I think it was what, 19th round or 17th round?
17th, yeah, 17th.
17th. That's at the very end of the draft now. It's not the middle. And I just thought, and I'm sure that so many guys were really happy to see you up there, but that one really stuck out to me as like, man, that's so cool because those are two of my favorite players of all time. But how neat was it to see Josh, other guys who have been up there, like what was their reaction once you got into the clubhouse?
So I counted just because I was interested
Hmm.
because we have probably like 4 or 5 rehabbers, I would want to say I played with 25 out of the 30 players that were in the clubhouse.
Wow.
So there was only 5 guys that I really truly didn't know. I just don't know their personality. I don't know who they are. But I've played with a majority of that team. But to see Josh, and especially when he texted me, when he found out, of course, that I was coming up, it was very exciting because he and I have both talked about it. We've been on a very similar path, very similar road, and to just kind of be here both at the same time, I'm just blessed and grateful to have the opportunity and honestly just play alongside such great players and especially such a good team right now because really the Marlins are playing really good
Yeah.
baseball. And I think it would be doing us a disservice to touch on one of the teammates that I have up here of Jacob Marcy and how well he is starting his major league career. It has been so impressive to watch him pretty much transition from doing the same exact thing he did in AAA to now doing it in the big leagues and almost making it look like he's been playing in the league for, 8 years.
I saw this on Twitter today. Jacob Marcy in what, 7 games or whatever has been worth the same amount of wins above replacement on Fangraphs as Luis Arraez in like 458 fewer plate appearances. That is so cool.
Yes,
And I know like WAR is not the be all end all, but that's pretty darn impressive. He's
it is.
amazing.
It is very impressive. Yes, it is. What he has been doing on the baseball field has been and I know he feels just fantastic because he earned
Yeah.
it more than anybody else. He earned it and he deserves it. But it has been so fun to be on a team like that because especially because of him and I going back and forth, me telling him I'm going to steal more bases than him, and I almost got him. I was close. I think I was about 15 off, but
Yeah.
I was catching him, and I was like, okay, cool, we're hitting 1 and 2. Like it's fun, and now seeing him just take off is very very fun to be a part of.
Awesome. Do you feel like you're in a routine yet up there? Or is it
No,
still just
I
crazy?
it's still I would say it's still kind of crazy for me. It takes about a week to two. I wouldn't even say a week. I'd say it takes about 2 weeks to really get into a routine. I'm still kind of like touch and feel because when I got into AAA for my very first year in 22, we had a lot of veteran guys, a lot of guys with big league time, and they treated it like a veteran clubhouse. So it was
Hmm.
very old school rules, know your place, do this kind of thing. My last couple of years in AAA, it has not been like that. It's been kind of just do what you want, this kind of thing. So I feel like there's, unwritten rules a little bit more so in the big leagues, especially with the older guys that, you know, longer contracts, service time, different stuff like that. They have these unwritten rules in a sense. And so trying to find and navigate the way around that and still trying to be myself is going to be the part where I can get a little bit more comfortable. But again, I've played with all these guys. They know me. Even it was funny because Weathers even looked at me and said, I have a hard time calling you rookie because I've been playing with you for 3 years. Like I feel like I've been your teammate for 3 years.
All right,
So
I got one more for you.
yeah,
Oh, go
of course.
ahead. The team plane. You talked about some of the unwritten rules. I feel like when I saw the schedule when I was there on the trip, I feel like Sandy had his own spot on the plane. And like that was a thing. Like this guy's a Cy Young Award caliber pitcher, and he's been with the franchise forever. I felt like everybody else was kind of like you could player wise, you could sit where you want to sit. So where did you sit on the plane? What did you order from those amazing flight attendants? Like, give me your plane scouting report. Were you at the card table or were you more just like kind of sitting back?
So this one was a little bit shorter flight. So we had like a regular plane. So it was like a
Okay.
normal Delta, like 36 rows plus first class kind of plane. But I did bring my Mario Kart controller, and me and Josh shared like a little screen in the middle, and we played Mario Kart
Nice.
on there against Bender and Fauché. And so that's pretty much what I did. I watched a movie, hung out. I would have loved to play cards, but it just really wasn't on the plane table kind of thing. So maybe next time we'll see. But the plane
Yeah.
ride itself was very different. It was very, you're walking on a private plane. People are, you order a drink. I had what they called the Mattingly. I don't know what it was. It was
Hmm.
kind of like a fruitier vodka drink, I think. Um, I had a cookie, a couple Chick-fil-A sandwiches, and so it was very just. Everybody was at your service. They treated you very nice. It wasn't, your Southwest flight where they're barking at you to sit in your seat and we only have middle seats open. Yeah,
We
keep
dealt with that
if you
coming
find
here.
a middle seat, sit down. That's the only seat that's open.
We had, you'll have to text. I don't want to say this one on the air, but we had a pretty crazy trip coming over here. Somebody forgot their passport because, and it was actually an American player. They didn't have a
Oh,
real ID. So we had to
oh,
drop them off in the city so they could Uber to the apartments to Uber to the airport. And they made it on time, but I'm pretty sure they were in a middle seat to get here to Nashville. Yeah, it's much different. It's much different. I'm
yes.
really so happy for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. This was the episode I just have wanted to do so long, really since we started. And I'm happy that we did it. And I hope that it's like this. Don't come back here if you could help it.
Hey, I just got to keep sneaking a couple hits in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for everybody. We were going to do the mailbag episode,
Yes,
and
can we do that next?
let's do that next. I thought we had to kick that one to do this one, and I think people will understand. They're going to want to hear all about your time in the show. So I have a few emails already on questions. Scott at jaxshrimp.com will do it. So SCOTT at JAX shrimp.com. I mean, honestly, you can message both of us on really any social media. I'm Scott
Yeah.
Kornberg on all of them. What are you, T John? What are you on Instagram? We
I
follow each
want to
other. I
say
don't
it's T
remember.
Johnston 21.
There you go.
That's my old college, or
So
maybe it's just or Troy Johnston. I think it's just Troy Johnston. That was my old
if
college number.
if you've got how'd you pick 75 before we wrap
They
up
just
that
no,
up?
they just give me my spring training number.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
When will you get to pick your own number?
I have no idea, but we'll see.
Interesting.
I'm more of a single digit kind of guy, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right. I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Scott, thank you so much. So everybody, that was turn two with Scott and Troy. You can catch us wherever you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Please check us out. Like, subscribe, let us know what you think, and please be leaving comments and look out for that next mailbag episode. It's going to be a fun one.